What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ow! Can you believe I have never reviewed a Derringer? This is the first time I am reviewing one. This is from Bond Arms. It's called the Roughneck, and this particular one is chambered in 9mm. We're going to talk about the features, the testing, the accuracy, what I think of it overall, all the normal stuff. A couple things about Bond Arms first. Everything they make is made in the USA, which I thought was dope because they are affordable guns and they're made in the United States. They mostly focus on single and double shot Derringers. They have a bunch of different sizes and colors and Trump stuff, and they have a very wide variety, a ton of different calibers as well. So if this isn't your jam, take a look at their website. They have a lot of others. The Roughneck specifically is available in a few different calibers. You can get it in .380, you can get it in 38/357, you can also get them in .45, and again, this particular one is chambered in 9mm. The frame on the gun, the small frame, is made from stainless steel. So I think the durability and the corrosion resistance should be there, being it's stainless steel. And the one thing I want to point out is the finish is very, very clean. Again, this is a sub $300 gun, and somebody spent some time cleaning this up or polishing it or whatever they do. It's very, very clean and consistent. There's no marks or anything like that. The grip has this nice set of rubber textured grips. Now you can swap them out if you don't like the looks of the rubber, but these are small, very small guns. So if you get a nicer looking set of wood grips, I think they're not going to feel as good when you shoot. I think the rubber is the way to go, but you can swap them out if you don't like them for some reason. The shape of this grip is called the hand cannon, which I think is very fitting. These are very small hand cannons, and even in 9mm it does have a little bit of felt recoil. It's not bad at all, but you do feel it. So if somebody is overly sensitive to recoil, maybe get a smaller caliber like .380, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the testing section of it. There is a crossbolt safety here. If you're looking at it from the rear, when you push to the left, that means the safety is engaged. Now, it's not going to stop you from pushing the trigger, pulling the trigger, or the hammer dropping. It's just going to block the hammer from those rounds going off. So it is a safety where it will stop the gun from firing, but the hammer can still be cocked and the trigger can still be pulled. Speaking of the hammer, this is a single action gun. So what that means, you have to manually pull the hammer to the rear and then pull the trigger to get the gun to fire, or it's not going to go off. The hammer is a good size. It's very easy to pull to the rear, like it's very smooth. You have some texturing or some knurling on the top, but it doesn't pull to the rear. Like, they gave it a good amount of weight. If it's too easy to pull to the rear, and this is like in your boot or in your pocket or in a pocketbook or something, that's kind of dangerous. So it takes a little bit of effort, but it's still very smooth. The trigger. So I hesitate because Derringers are not made for any distance shooting. They're made for up close and personal, bad breath, self-defense type of distance. So for that case, the trigger's fine. It breaks around 7 pounds. You kind of pull down and to the rear both. And it took me a little bit of practice in the beginning, especially shooting one hand, because it's just a little bit of a different motion. With any new gun, you should be practicing, especially with something this small. So the trigger is fine. It works. It went bang every single time. Don't expect something high-end, like, I shouldn't say high-end. Don't expect like a 2011 trigger. That's the apples and oranges here. It's a Derringer trigger. It's made for up close and personal, and it's fine. The one thing I do want to point out on the trigger guard here, when I first got it, the first 20 rounds or so, that screw that holds the trigger guard in place did come loose. I took it out, dropped a little bit of Loctite in there, tightened it back down, and then since then, the 100+ rounds since then, it has been a-okay. I haven't had any additional issues. All right, we're going to talk about the sights. Keep in mind, this is, again, an up-close and personal bad breath gun. You don't really need the sights most of the time, but they're on there if you want to shoot out, a little bit further. The front sight is a fixed blade sight. It's built into the barrel, ramps up. The rear sight is a small kind of U-notch sight. And even though it's an up-close and personal gun, I wanted to see how far out I could shoot it. And I got out to 20 yards and I was still hitting steel, which is pretty cool. The mistake I was doing in the beginning is I wasn't burying the top of that front sight into the rear sight. And I was aiming up a little high, and obviously the gun was shooting high. 100% on me, not on the gun. So if you are going to shoot at any distance, just make sure you bury the top of that fixed blade sight into the rear sight. Don't hold up like I was. A couple cool things about the barrel that I want to talk about. It's a break action barrel. On the side is a release. You push down on the release and the barrel will flip open. This particular one is 2.5 inches. It holds 2 rounds of 9mm, and it is a stainless steel barrel. So just like the frame, stainless steel material is dope, by the way, especially on barrels. This little thing is probably more accurate even with the 2.5-inch barrel than any of us can be. Stainless is dope. It has some polish on the side, which is some nice aesthetics. On the side it says Granby, Texas, where these guns are made. But the cool part is you can swap barrels, and this opens up a lot of variety, a lot of options for you. You just take out this one screw on the side, and then from Bond Arms you can buy additional barrels that are different calibers, which I think is really cool. You can also buy different barrel lengths. You can buy different finishes. There's a huge variety, and that opens up to a lot of customizing and setting up the gun perfect for you, or if a significant other is carrying it, or whatever. All right, dimensions are up here on the screen. And again, it is a very small gun, but does have a little bit of weight to it. It's 19 ounces, which I think is a good thing. The smaller the gun, the more difficult it is to shoot, especially if it's very small and very light. It's going to be even harder. So that extra weight will help eat up a little bit of the felt recoil. And again, I mentioned it already, but sub $300 for a nice, basic, clean, good-looking gun that's made in the United States for sub 300 bucks. That's a solid deal in my book. All right, let's talk about the testing real quick before we get into the pros and cons. I have had this gun for about 4 months. It was only supposed to be 3, but I'm a slacker and haven't sent it back yet. In those 4 months, I brought it to the range 8 or 9 times, and I shot 150 rounds total. I know 150 rounds is not a lot. It's definitely not a lot to do a review on a gun, but this is a 2-shot Derringer, so hopefully you guys give me a break and understand that. It takes a long time to shoot 150 rounds. Most of the shooting was up close to a target, just shooting it on paper, testing the durability, shooting it as many rounds as I possibly had the patience and it felt like doing. All the close-up stuff was good. Again, I stretched it out a little bit, 10, 15, 20 yards on steel. 20 yards on a very small piece of steel was a little difficult. 20 yards at a larger piece of steel was very easy, even for my average shooting skills. And I know, again, this footage is not the most exciting. You cock the hammer, pull the trigger, cock the hammer, pull the trigger, unload, reload, do it over and over and over. But hey, it's a Derringer, that's how it works. So through that 150-ish rounds, I had no problems, no malfunctions, no issues. Well, besides the trigger guard coming loose, I already mentioned that. A little Loctite, it's been good to go since. But I had no issues. Every single time I pulled the trigger, it went bang. Even with some of the suspect ammo I have, like I have some, not Tula, I have this random brand ammo that causes problems in every semi-auto, so I kind of leave it for guns like this and revolvers, and I put it in this and it was fine. I didn't have any issues at all. Based on that, the biggest pro for me is going to be the swappable barrels. I really like the idea of being able to swap the barrels, especially because you can swap calibers and you can swap barrel lengths and you can swap finishes. So the calibers is the really cool part to me. I think the price is awesome. You get a good looking gun that is made in the United States for sub 300 bucks. So the price is going to be my second. Third, made in the US is dope. Fourth, really clean finish. So whether you look on the polished stainless on the side or the matte stainless on the frame, it's very clean. And I would be okay if it had a few imperfections for a gun sub 300 bucks, but it doesn't. It is very clean. And the last show I was at, I went to the Bond Arms booth and was looking at their guns on the booth, and all of those were pretty clean as well. So I don't think it's just one that they sent me. I think they're all come through pretty clean. Overall, if you're looking for a Derringer, if you're looking for something really small, if you're looking for a backup gun or a boot gun, lots of people keep these in their boot, which I think is great. Pocketbook, pocket, it's a great choice. Now, I personally am a big fan of protecting the trigger guard, but being this is a single action gun where you have to cock the hammer, then pull the trigger, I'm okay with it. The chances of the hammer getting cocked and the trigger getting pulled is very unlikely. Maybe not the best idea in a pocketbook, but in a pocket with nothing else or a boot or anything like that, those are probably pretty good options. Bond Arms has a Cyclops, which is a 4570. I really want to get my hands on one of those. It looks awful, but I want to make everyone else shoot it. And they have a really good looking lever gun that I want to try as well. But either way, thank you to Bond Arms. This is the first time they've supported the channel, so I greatly appreciate that. Most important, if you think I deserve it, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. You can like and comment. That stuff is wonderful. It helps. I appreciate it. But the subscriptions are really where it's at. I appreciate it. Santa, what side is Santa on? Santa appreciates it. I will see you in the next video. Stay good, no, be good, and stay blessed.